بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of history of Shia Islam during the life of Imam Baqir alayhi salam. There is a great heritage received from Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Although many of these things were not compiled during his life, but gradually some of his direct or indirect students organized them and compiled them. Imam's hadith about fiqh have been very much shaping our fiqh, but also in areas of aqaid, akhlaq, seerah and hadith, and even tafsir. We have many hadiths from Baqir about tafsir of the verses of the Quran. Even we have hadiths from Imam about health issues. So when Umayyad were busy with their expansion plans and military issues, etc., and they didn't have that much attention to religious education and scientific matters, the Ummah was in a difficult situation. Just as an example, Ibn Abbas, the famous scholar and cousin of the Prophet, student of Amir al-Mu'mineen, who is respected by all Muslims as a knowledgeable person, in the last months of Ramadan of his life, he was in Basra. On pulpit, on minbar, he asked people to give sadaqah for fasting, meaning zakatul fitr. And people didn't understand. People of Basra, not people of very far places. So Ibn Abbas asked people who were there from Medina to stand up and explain for them what does zakatul fitr mean. So you see how much people were deprived of religious education even at that time, close to the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when his companions are still alive. So Imam alayhi salam played a great role in teaching true Islamic ideas, and also stood against some groups who had deviated from mainstream and had strong ideas of ghuluw, for example, or murji'ah. I will inshallah explain these things gradually. Or people who were fabricating hadith, they were influenced by non-Islamic sources. So Imam had to defend Islam against these things. Ghali comes from ghuluw. Ghuluw means to exaggerate about a religious idea or maybe practice. Inshallah, when we talk about the life of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, we have a discussion about ghuluw. These people sometimes, maybe honestly, but because they didn't have that much knowledge, because of their ignorance, they used to exaggerate about imams or one particular imam and considering a kind of deity for imam. And some were, no, dishonest. It's not that they were ignorant. They really wanted to reach their own wishes, gains through this. Inshallah, we'll talk about Ghulat later. But Murji'a we can discuss now because the book it is discussed now. So soon, inshallah, we'll talk about Murji'a. So Imam alayhi salam himself and also with his students that he had trained try to educate people. People like Zurarat ibn A'yan, Aban ibn Taghlib, Jabir ibn Yazid al-Juhfi, Muhammad ibn Muslim were trained by Imam Baqir alayhi salam and had great role to educate people. Now we have a box here about key concepts, and one is Murji'a. If you study books of Firaq and Mazahib about Muslim sects, you would see this. Murji'a literally means either someone who gives, or a group, a firqa that gives hope, because it can be from Raja. Raja, Yarju is Sulasi Mujarrad, Arja, Yurji, Irja'an is Sulasi Mazid, Bab If'al. So it can be meaning giving hope. Because Raja, Yarju means to have hope, Arja, Yurji means to give hope. Or it's more likely to be from Irja, meaning to delay. So these people, either because giving too much hope to people when it comes to their sinning, or because they were delaying the position of action and giving not that much attention to it, they are called Murji'a. As a group, this emerged in the first half of the first century. Not second century, not even in the second part of first century. In the very first part of first century of Islam, after Khawarij. There was a big question in history, introduction to the science of Kalam. We talked about this by the late Ayatollah Mutahari. The question was, is someone who commits a major sin mu'min or kafir? Hal murtakibul kabirah abil kabair kafirun or muslimun mu'minun? Khawarij were very harsh. They were saying, if someone commits a major sin, it's kafir. And this is why in the issue of Hakamiyat, they considered Amir al-Mu'mineen, Muawiyah, and Amr al-As, all of them kafir, and even people that they should, kill. They were doing takfir, like takfir is today, that they excommunicate Muslims and then even may say, their life is not to be protected. Khawarij had this idea. This is why they call these takfiris today new Kharijats. So they were saying Murtakibul Kabira is kafir. We believe that Murtakibul Kabira is not kafir. It can be a believer but who is fasiq, sinful. Mu'tazila had the idea of manzilatun bayna manzilatayn, neither kafir nor mu'min. And in that series of lectures we explain how Mu'tazilites separated from Ahl Hadith when Wasil ibn Ata said manzilatun bayna manzilatayn, and his teacher said i'tazil anna or i'tazala anna. Anyway, Murji'a are very liberal about the issue of major sins and sinning in general. They say Iman is prior to إقرار باللسان, declaration of faith with tongue. Iman is more important than this, and declaration by tongue is more important than action, like salat, fasting, etc. So if someone doesn't have that much actions, has not performed wajibat, or has even committed major sins, na'udhu billah, like killing, even burning Kaaba, na'udhu billah, adultery, etc., Murji'ah used to say it doesn't harm their Iman. And their Iman can be Iman of Jibreel and Mikael, and they have salvation just because they have Iman. They separated Iman from declaration by tongue and action. They didn't have different levels for Iman. And they had the idea that if you have Iman, al-ma'siyatu la tadur, ma'siyah is not harmful. And if you have kufr, or acts of obedience are not beneficial. Whether you do something charitable or not, it's useless. They had themselves different, of course, subgroups, but generally speaking, they had this idea. They used to argue from Quran. They used to, for example, maybe refer to some hadith just to justify themselves. This kind of understanding had bad impact ethically and politically on Muslim Ummah. Ethically, because then those who were committing sins or maybe thinking about it, this could encourage them to commit sins because their Iman is intact and they will have salvation. Actions are not obstacles if they are bad action. Politically, Ubaydites and unjust rulers in general benefited from this idea because they themselves were not very practicing and they could justify their bad practices with this, that bad actions would not harm if you have Iman. Abu Shimr Qadari and Ghaylan Qadari are some of the leaders of this group. It's a kind of liberalism in action under the cover of faith. So Imam Baqir had to face people like this and clarify their misunderstandings. Then about martyrdom of Imam Baqir alayhi salam, it says that it happened on the 7th of Dhul Hajjah, year 114, during Khilafah or Caliphate of Hisham. Ibrahim ibn Walid ibn Abdul Malik forced Imam to take poison, maybe put in the food of Imam or somehow without Imam willing or through conventional and ordinary ways of knowledge, knowing maybe the poison was given to Imam because Imam, they know with ilm al-ghaib, and if they want to use ilm al-ghaib, they can refrain, or they can for example go somewhere that certain things don't happen, like Amir al-Mu'minin could, for example, that day that Ibn Muljam was going to say he could not go to Masjid. But this is against their responsibility because they have to act according to Zawahir, according to the ordinary rules. They shouldn't let ilmul ghaib affect their decision. In this way, they can be role model for us. Okay. So Ibrahim ibn Walid ibn Abdul Malik poisoned Imam anyway, and Imam was killed and was buried in Baqir, close to the grave of his father, Imam Zayn al-Abidin, and Imam Hassan alayhi salam. Some of the moral characteristics of Imam Baqir alayhi salam. One day, a person that was a non-Muslim but was also influenced by people who were against Ahlul Bayt was rude to Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Na'udhu billah, na'udhu billah. He said, "You are Baqir." Imam was Baqir. Baqir from Baqr. Baqr means to cut, as you know, because he was very much aware of details of knowledge and could distinguish between, delicate things that are similar, etc. But he said, "You are Baqir." Na'udhu billah, calm. Imam said, "No, my name is Baqir." He didn't get angry. He said, "My name is Baqir." Who said? Then that person said, "You are the son of a female cook." Imam said, this was her, for example, occupation. Then he said, "You are son of a maid who was black and had bad language, it was rude." Imam said, "If you are right and she had bad akhlaq or bad, ways of talking, may Allah forgive her. But if you are a liar, may God forgive you." Didn't again get angry. And that person was shocked that this great person who has, followers, who has lots of, students, progeny of the Prophet of Islam, he was a non-Muslim. So he was influenced by akhlaq of Imam and became Muslim. About his generosity, we talked before. We mentioned one story from Sulaiman before. I think I mentioned this for you. Another story is said by Hassan ibn Kathir. He says, "One day I went to Imam Baqir alayhi salam and complained that I am in need, but my brothers, our friends, community members, they don't help me." Imam was very sad and said, "The worst brothers are those that when you don't have need, they keep visiting you and keep good relation with you, but when you become poor or needy, they disconnect." Then Imam gave him a pack which had 700 dirham and said, "Spend on yourself and family, and when it's finished, let me know." So as I said before, Ahlul Bayt were very generous. Some of the words of wisdom. No two things have ever been mixed better than knowledge and patience. Yeah. If you want a combination of knowledge and patience is great. Alim has to be very patient and forbear wrongdoings or wrong things of others. The highest perfections are deep insight about religion, patience in difficulties, and good management of life, especially when it comes to expenditure and etc. There are three characteristics that are the highest traits of character in dunya and akhirah. One, forgive those who have wronged you. Two, connect to those who disconnected from you. And third, forbearance when people misbehave. In another hadith, Imam said, a scholar from whose knowledge people benefit is better than 70,000 worshippers. 70,000 worshippers who just do worship, they don't help people in their struggles of faith, akhlaq. This alim whose knowledge benefits people is better than 70,000 worshippers like this. No one become alim unless would not feel jealous towards someone who is higher than him. True alim will not be jealous about people who are better or higher, and would not humiliate those who are lower than him. Unfortunately, many people, maybe we are included, with those who are better or have something that we don't have, we feel jealous. Those who don't have what we have, we look bad at them. We look, down at them. No. Alim is not jealous about people who are higher, and would not humiliate, would honor, not humiliate, people who are lower. There are three things that their consequences would be seen in this dunya before death. In akhirah they have consequences, but you will see some consequences even in dunya before you die. One is to do injustice, or to invade, basically to go beyond your rights. Two, qat' or rahim, disconnecting the kinship. And third, a false vow or qasam, untrue qasam. And the quickest way for thawab, getting reward, is salay rahim. It's so good, so blessing, or so blessed and bring blessings, that is fastest in being rewarded. No action is valuable unless it is with ma'rifah. And ma'rifah is not possible without amal. You cannot have ma'rifah without action. Whoever has ma'rifah, his ma'rifah would push him towards practice and action. Discover the love of your brother. If you want to know how much your brother loves you, see how much you love that brother. Look at your heart. How much you love that person also has this love. There can be, of course, exceptions, but this is one of the main factors. By Allah, our Shia are not except those who have taqwa, they fear God, they obey God. And you cannot know them except with tawadu, humility, trustworthiness, remembering Allah a lot, prayer, fasting, kindness to parents, looking after needy, poor neighbors, honesty, recitation of Quran, not speaking about people except in good way, and be trusted by people. These are the characteristics of our Shia. There are many hadiths, but I say just some of them. Haya and Iman are together. If one goes, the other one goes. You cannot have Iman without Haya. Haya is a positive shame, positive sense of shame. Means you internally don't want to do something which is bad. In some lectures I have explained what is Haya and how much Haya is important in Islam. One of the greatest regret on the Day of Judgment is for someone who taught people good things, they acted upon it, and he himself has not acted upon it. Give amana, trust, back to its owner, whether that person is good or bad. If the killer of Amirul Mu'mineen gives me a trust, I will give him back. Deliver the trust back when he wants it. He says, please look after this, and then later comes and please give me back. Should give it back. Shia of Amirul Mu'mineen are only those people that, because of our wilayah, al-mutabadhilun, they give each other, because of our love, they love each other, in order to revive us or our affair, they visit each other. And if they are upset and angry, they don't do zulm. Because sometimes when we are angry, then we do zulm. Maybe in ordinary case, no, but when we are angry. You have to have such control that if you are angry, this should not let you become unjust. And if you are happy, you should not then become inordinate, do things in excess, because you are too excited. They are barakatun leman jawaru. They are source of blessing for their neighbors. Wasilmun leman khalatu. Our true Shia are silm. They are peaceful. They are at peace with the people that they mix with. Our Shia are not confrontational or people of conflict. Our Shia are very peaceful, nice people. Generally speaking, sometimes, of course, there might be exceptional cases that you need to defend yourself or community or oppress people, etc. That's secondary. But generally speaking, Shia are people who are easy to deal with, very polite, respectful, they have good manners, etc. Laziness, another hadith, laziness causes harm in dunya and in religion, faith. As much as arrogance penetrates into the heart, aql is reduced. Arrogance, takabbur, and aql cannot get along with each other. Okay, alhamdulillah, we finished this part about Imam Baqir alayhi salam. Insha'Allah, bi'idhnillah, we start the life of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Inshallah, next week, then after Imam, we have to go to the time of Ghaibah. So we have a long journey. We ask Allah for tawfiq to complete this journey, inshallah. Alhamdulillah, Rabbil Alamin.
اللهم صل على محمد.